Honorable Minister Ramsamy as urgent as possible. They have burning issues. They have problems, Mr. Minister. They feel also that the notices that are in the papers is not adequate. Every member send notices to the farmers telling them when this repossession period will take place. Because some don't even buy newspapers. And so they are only airing by the way that their name generation of supply. This is getting nowhere in Region 5. There is no reliable and affordable supply of electricity. Our young people have to be using lamps, Mr. Speaker. They can't even enjoy a simple television program or computer service. I spoke about number 30 Back Street. 40 almost there, Mr. Speaker. The Honorable Prime Minister knows about it, and Dr. Anthony knows about it. Because this is during 2006. The former president, Mr. Jackie, during his campaign in those regions, promised the people there, this is 2013, up to now, nothing. And so those 40 homes in number 30 Back Street, those young people are asking every day, when are we going to have electricity and no lamps? I have been pleading since 2007 too, from Calcutta, Catherine, number 9, number 8. Mr. Speaker, these are areas that have seen electricity all their lives. Young people growing up without electricity. So, Mr. Speaker, just to mention a few, these poor people cannot even enjoy a comfortable living like every one of us in this house. Surely, they cannot afford the $238,000 per household. That is what causing the problem. The one pole to get to their homes, $238,000. Poor people, Mr. Speaker. There's also need for street lights in the region. Mr. Speaker, in the following areas, Chester to Rising Sun. I am living in a little village called Yeovil. I'm an original country girl. And so I'm living in Yeovil. Electricity stopped the village before me 4 years ago. And I stood up here talking about my village. People are saying to me, you're the member of Parliament and you're living in darkness. I hope that the Honorable Minister will see it fit that at least the MP of Region 5 can have some God needs to show some concern and bring some relief to residents, especially the ills that are taking place in our society today. The rape, break and enter, that's the order of the day. Sanitation, Mr. Speaker. The disposal of solid waste in a safe and efficient manner is supposed to be everybody's business, so as to ensure the health and safety of the citizens in this country. There are 3 landfilling sites that were identified in Region 5 for garbage disposal. The residents are saying that there must be consultation before anything happens. And so, Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Minister need to have that done in Region 5. Sea and river defense. Mr. Speaker, the northern embankment of the main drainage canal is being threatened by the Atlantic Ocean. I notice that the Minister is not in here. The embankment has eroded significantly in the vicinity of El Dorado village. The sea defense division of the Ministry of Work need to look at this urgently. Region 5 needs proper seawall structure in number 37. Plantation Brand, Yeovil where I'm living, Plantation Ross. Urgent corrective measures are needed in these unsafe and frightening areas. Residents of Prophet, Fowles, El Dorado, and Belgium are tired of the salt water and the losses of millions they suffer. Mr. Speaker, these residents are still awaiting compensation. The vulnerable groups. I now turn to the issue of poverty among our poor. Single parents, the elderly, the young, the disabled, and the powerless. The emphasis and the objective must be happiness for our people, especially since the government says overcoming challenges together, accelerating gains together. That is the key for the 2013 budget. Mr. Speaker, Guyanese need a good life. This depends at a personal level. They need a sound education, satisfactory employment, economic opportunity, and social protection for the vulnerable. The number of applications for public assistance has increased tremendously, Mr. Minister. Over the years, it is alarming that the majority of applications for I'm saying at Region 5 must have a level playing field.
The honorable member made mention of some of the staff of the Probation and Social Services Department, how they conduct their work. And I would say, Mr. Speaker, that the staff of the Probation and Social Services Department of the Ministry of Labor, Human Services and Social Security work beyond the call of duty. They are dedicated
where I hail from. The Garden of Eden surely must have been located in this magnificent vision, will, skill, the lack of prudent management, and the abundance of corrupt practices have combined to render the Roconoli one of the most backward places in the entire Caribbean. Mr. Speaker, no proper consultation with residents or their representatives is carried out in the so-called development plans. There is no comprehensive plan. The people of the Roconoli are very intelligent and know what is needed in their various communities. They do not need someone sitting in their carpeted, air-conditioned haven in Georgetown to decide what they need. So it is time to start a constructive consultation process, which will take more than 2 hours, as is the norm by the government. Mr. Speaker, I know that the Honorable Minister Ganga Prasad of the Minister of Regional Development will say that the Regional Democratic Council is so charged. But that is only in theory. That is only formality. The reality of the situation is that the RDC makes suggestions, but the bureaucrats do their own thing with the submissions.
Tell them, Sidney, tell them.
They speak democracy and act hypocritically. Be it as it may, Mr. Speaker, the budget has failed dismally to address the needs of Region 9. Let's examine the facts. Education. According to the figures from the Education Department, an average of 135 students leave the 3 secondary schools of Anai, St. Ignatius, and Aishalton annually. With the advent of the secondary school at Sand Creek, this average will indeed be revised upwards. The combined percentage pass at the CXC is well below 50%. Mr. Speaker, what happens to the students who do not pass? In fact, Mr. Speaker, let us examine the prospect of those who pass. A minuscule percentage, through the good fortune of their families, would gain entry to higher learning, say to the Guyana School of Agriculture, the Cyril Potter College, or the University of Guyana. Through scholarships, another insignificant number gains entry to the Government Technical Institute and other institutions of learning. The majority, Mr. Speaker, are forced to seek employment know priorities, but you sit in Georgetown and pretend to know better. You think you are the bosses instead of servants to the people. This should not be the case. For example, Mr. Speaker, for building education, the region requested the construction of teachers' quarters in Taushida, Atwip, Kaikombe, and Haiwa, Anai, and St. Ignatius, Rashwat. I find it mind-boggling that the first request was not approved. Mr. Speaker, these projects are listed in order of priority. So the foremost priority, Taushida, was left out. But another village was included that was not requested for. That village is San Creek, a well-known PPP stronghold.
Discrimination.
What is more, Mr. Speaker,
Discrimination.
is the fact that these submissions are done on to 2016. And San Creek is not requested for in any of these years. Again, requests were made to construct sanitary blocks at Arpaima and Arnaputo nursery schools, and Yuruparo and Kaikumbe primary schools. These were approved, but two more were thrown in, and those are Shiriri and Kumo. The same applies here. No request was made on to 2016, but these were included nevertheless. We have a very critical situation in St. Ignatius Primary School, where the facility is grossly overcrowded. The learning environment is not conducive. These have been requested, there have been repeated requests by the school's administration and the Parent Teachers Association to have the school extended. That is a priority, but did not find favor with the Honorable Minister. Again, Mr. Speaker, we have a serious problem of overcrowding in the dormitory of St. Ignatius and Anai. We have cases of students being made to double up, being forced to share a bed. This is not healthy and needs urgent attention. At study nights, all of the students cannot share them all together, so there is a staggered system of studying where the lower classes study earlier and the higher classes later in the evening. Again, Mr. Speaker, this request for extension of the dormitory was made by the school administration and the relevant authorities, and yet this was denied. Mr. Speaker, we would like to know why these priority projects did not find favor with the Honorable Minister. In addition, Mr. recurrence? The answer is none. In fact, Mr. Speaker, the budget for Region 9 is giving scope for this to continue. Under health services, land transportation, and APE have been requested. What is more, it has been ranked #1 priority and has been classified as critical. Well, Mr. Speaker, it seems that we are heading for a more critical health delivery program in Region 9. With the potential of serious multiplication, Mr. Speaker, coupled with the difficult terrain not give expression to the people's will. It is not a human budget. Rather, Mr. Speaker, the government continues its trend of including projects in the budget to ensure that their cronies benefit financially. There is absolutely no correlation between value for money and these projects. The people of Region 9, Mr. Speaker, like the rest of this beautiful land of ours, are the poorer as a result of this monstrosity of budget. The education of our people was not addressed. Our citizens will continue to die in Brazil because the health component of the regional budget did not consider this need. Our roads will continue to be unsafe, thus putting the lives of our people at risk. Our citizens will continue to be unsafe even in their own homes because the uncaring administration cares nothing for their security. Our Amazonian communities will not get their land demarcated or extended in a timely manner because this government lacks